Hello there everyone, this is 1995 Express, and I'm back from England. I've actually been back at home for about 2 weeks by now, but yeah, the weekend after I returned from England, I went to Maryland to ride on the Western Maryland Scenic Railway. Unfortunately, the steam engine blew a pipe and had to be replaced by a diesel, which is rather a shame since I was hoping to ride on the steam engine before its 2016 restoration. Minor trips aside, my trip to England was it was great actually. I got a lot of souvenirs. I got The Adventure Begins on DVD, I got the Thunderbirds Are Go's news series on DVD, and I got a great collection of books, and I also saw Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure. Now, if you want to avoid spoilers, skip ahead to the point which is put into the description. Yeah, so Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure. I can answer the questions of those who ask me how do I think of it. It was tremendous. I mean, the intro is just it's brilliant with Thomas the Tank Engine racing and all those close-ups of Thomas the Tank Engine, the number, the whistle, the smokestack, the pistons even. And oh yeah, that was a cameo appearance of someone very special, and you'll have to look for that when it comes out onto DVD. Yeah, so a subplot of the story, the major subplot, is that the Northwestern Railway is extending the line from Arlesburg to Harwich, which is in the northern region of Sodor. It's very hard to find a railway that travels along the northern part of Sodor, but if you count the Railway Series universe, there was originally a narrow gauge line which ran from Harwich to Ballidswale. Yeah, so it reintroduces a lot of classic characters like Donald and Douglas. Thankfully, their voices turn out great, and Alfie and Oliver from the Pack. Yeah, they team up with Jack in this, as well as Max and Monty, only they don't get any verbal roles, they're just cameos. Yeah, and it also has the small railway engines, Mike, Rex, and Bert. Unfortunately, their voices aren't really all that I anticipated, but the characters match very well. Yeah, so Thomas's role is that he's being very cheeky in this special. Yeah, there was one point in which the morning after he has this race with Birdie, he is very tired that he can't wake up again. Kind of a nod to the original Thomas and Gordon story, but this time he enjoys keeping Gordon in suspense. The other engines are telling him to wake up, Gordon is waiting for the express, and Thomas is like, let him wait. Oh, he's really cheeky in this special. But he does get into trouble because he tried to take the express coaches out by himself, and he doesn't even wait for the passengers at that platform, if there are any passengers waiting at Knapford. But yeah, he almost collides with Emily, and the coaches derail on the points, leading to, well, as you can imagine, a massive piece of havoc in the yard. So the Fat Controller is cross with Thomas, and he sends Thomas to work on the extension project, while Ryan, the new tank engine comes in to take over for his job. Of course, as one might expect, this whole Ryan and Thomas subplot thing is a bit similar to the Great Discovery with Stanley and Thomas, but I suppose that Ryan would be a better representation of an engine that Thomas thinks is going to replace him, because Ryan is bigger than Thomas, definitely. I mean, those tank engines, I forget what you call them. Charlie, Billy, and Stanley are all of the same build. Hudswell Clarks. Hudswell Clarks. Yeah, they're not as big as. I mean, they're smaller than the E2 class locomotives, let alone being as big as them. Yeah, so Ryan is bigger than Thomas, and he poses more of a threat to Thomas in Thomas's case. Yeah, so Thomas is cross, well, more upset really that he's lost his branch line to Ryan. And the small railway engines cheer him up, but not in exactly the way I would imagine in a Thomas special. I mean, they start singing a musical number, that being Never Overlook a Little Engine. Now, I never thought that an engine would sing a musical number written especially for the special. I mean, up until now, we've had the engines singing By the Seaside. But then, of course, the trucks do make up their own songs, so I guess engines qualify as well. But that's not the weird part. The weird part is the segments that occur in Never Overlook a Little Engine. The small railway engines, they fly around Thomas's face like rockets circling around a moon. And then it's Thomas and the small railway engine swimming in the sea. Just what? And then there's the small railway engines circling around this giant cake. We've all seen the promo image for that. And, well, this one is more okay or less. Rex on a turntable, obviously spinning around faster than a big engine like Gordon can on a big sized turntable. And then, the small railway engines grow wings and fly. Butterfly wings. I'm not joking. I'm not mad. This is actually in the film. I mean, trains with butterfly wings? What kind of bloke thinks up this rot? You would have thought that they were treating the small railway engines like some fanciful engines. And speaking of fantasy, there's a subplot in which Marianne seems to think that the small railway engines are magical and can grant wishes. Really, this is all getting rather silly. The small railway engines are being introduced in the television series for the very first time, and they're being treated like fairies and elves. I mean, I know they're small, but they're not magical. The only magical engine in this universe is Lady. Why not just bring her back, for crying out loud? Yeah, so, anyway, Thomas tries to, prove himself, and, he tries to get the rails to the, extension project, but unbeknownst to him, the track beneath the, the ground beneath the track had been crumbling and is unsafe, but Thomas doesn't realize this until too late, and all the trucks with the rails and Thomas fall down into a cavern. Now, this probably might have been what Down the Mine should have been like had Wilbert Audrey not given it a more happier ending. But yeah, so Thomas falls down the cavern a little too slowly, in my opinion, and of course he comes across the pirate ship. Meanwhile, Ryan takes Annie and Clarabelle out along the branch line, but something I don't really get is that why Annie and Clarabelle ask where Thomas was when they were in the yard when Thomas was messing up. So they should know that. They should have seen that Thomas had been punished by the Fat Controller. Yeah, so back to Thomas. He's hauled out by Rocky. How they actually maneuvered that rescue operation, I have no idea. But the Fat Controller is cross, and he sends Thomas to be repaired, but not to be repainted. So Thomas is left in this scruffy appearance that we've seen in the promos. And then later on, Rocky spots the pirate ship, and everyone congratulates him, even though it was Thomas who first discovers it, and Thomas is made even more upset. And, well, let's just say he's not going through a very good time in this special. So while Thomas is being repaired, the Fat Controller sends over Ryan to help out with the extension, and Percy takes over for the passenger duties on the Farquhar branch. Of course, he still keeps Thomas on the extension project, but since Ryan is helping out now, he's staying in the shed with the other Arlesburg branch line engines, and Thomas sees this and refuses to be in the same shed with him. Now, don't get any funny ideas. I'm just describing what I saw in the special. Yeah, so one night Thomas comes across Sailor John and Skiff, who are at the hole which Thomas fell in, and Sailor John goes down there to find a treasure map, and Skiff tells Thomas about how he likes being on the rails, and how much he wants to be an engine, and he's tired of having water splash into his face and such. Yeah, Skiff is an adorable character. I really like him. Sailor John is also enjoyable for the majority of the movie. Yeah, so Sailor John and Skiff only appear at night, and since Skiff is flying on this wheel, on this special cart which Sailor John made for him, and going through fog banks, apparently, it makes him look more ghostly, and of course this startles Henry, who thinks there's a ghost boat. Why is it that Henry is now being a scaredy cat in these stories? I digress. So anyway, the next morning, Ryan asks Thomas about the Skiff, and Thomas denies that he was working with Skiff, and so he also still has a grudge against Ryan at this point, so he doesn't really tell Ryan about some bad coal that's in a coal hopper, and Ryan takes on bad coal and goes off to the docks to collect some special cargo. Oh yeah, there's this bit in which Marion is introduced to Oliver, the excavator, and she seems to get the idea that Oliver the Western engine was turned into the excavator via magic, and of course via the small railway engines. She gets this crazy idea. I don't know. Her role is really silly in this, but then again, she is voiced by a celebrity, I guess, so gotta find some way to put her in. Yeah, so after she sees the pirate ships, she gets this idea and goes to the small railway engines and wishes that she can find the buried treasure, if there is buried treasure. This is really awkward. The way she does is that she holds Mike back with her shovel, and he's trapped up on the chute. So there's no way for him to go but backwards. But Marion is blocking his only way out. Yeah, I can't help but think that she was being a little bit abusive to Mike. Of course, I can agree with the small railway engine. She's a bit cuckoo. So anyway, back to Ryan. By the time he returns to the extension, he's just coughing out these clouds of smoke and sparks, and you can't help but feel sorry for him. Except for Thomas, of course. Thomas just thinks he's getting the better of him, until he realizes that the cargo that Ryan's delivering is dynamite, and the sparks from Ryan have set it alight. And then there's this whole sequence in which they're trying to get rid of the dynamite. Ryan shunts away the trucks, but then Marion intervenes and stops the trucks, and I just wanted to shout out, "No, Marion! Let it go! Let it go! There's dynamite in that truck!" But anyway, she picks up the cargo, realizes it's lit dynamite, and she tosses it over to Jack, who catches it in his bucket, and then he tosses it over to, was it Alfie or Oliver or somewhat? I forget. Anyway, there's this whole hot potato thing between the construction team, and then it goes back to Marion, who puts it back into the truck, and then pushes the train back towards Ryan and Thomas. And then Thomas ends up taking on the train and pushing it down the extension line over to the place where the hole was, and he just pushes the whole train into there, saving everyone, thankfully. But the Fat Controller caught him pushing the dynamite and chasing after Ryan, because Ryan somehow ended up at the tail of the train instead of being at the head. But yeah, truth of the matter was that somehow there was this whole switch up, and Ryan is trying to escape the dynamite train, but he's stuck on this one track and is rather forced to being chased by a train of dynamite when Thomas is actually trying to get rid of it. And this whole... it all goes on until Ryan switches onto another track and Thomas is finally able to get rid of the dynamite. But the Fat Controller thought that Thomas was trying to get rid of Ryan. I mean, I'm rather annoyed with the Fat Controller in this particular scene, because he barges onto the scene when everyone is congratulating Thomas, and he doesn't even ask what the hey is going on. He just accuses Thomas of causing more trouble than before. I mean, sir, I know Thomas is being difficult right now, but you could at least ask some questions. I mean, you were being rather harsh there towards Thomas. So anyway, without the dynamite, there's not much that the construction team can do. So they all go off. But then Marion discovers the treasure chest, but everyone's all gone off by the time she finds it, so she just stays in her siding with the chest still in her bucket and goes to sleep for the night. Thomas, meanwhile, feeling rejected, goes and joins Sailor John and Skiff again, and they start digging for the treasure now that Sailor John has the map. But they're unfortunate, and Sailor John seems to suspect that Thomas has taken the treasure for himself, considering that the trio aren't together during the daytime, they're only together during the night. And Sailor John's about to confront Thomas about it until they realize that it's daylight, so Sailor John and Skiff go off on their own. Thomas goes off on his own as well, and runs into Marion, who accidentally dumps the treasure chest all over Thomas. Of course, everyone congratulates Marion for finding the treasure, and the Fat Controller arranges it for to be put into the museum. Of course, he keeps it in his own safe at Tidmouth Station for safekeeping, but yeah, not really the best idea, as we'll find out later. Yeah, so Sailor John confronts Thomas again at another point of the line, and Thomas explains what's happened to the treasure, and Sailor John reveals his true intentions of the treasure, and Thomas refuses to work with him, so he pushes Skiff into a siding and continues on his way. Sailor John acts like a crybaby in this scene, and it's rather funny. You'll have to wait and see until it goes onto DVD. At sundown, Thomas and Ryan meet and they apologize to each other and they start becoming good friends. Ryan again offers Thomas to spend the night in their shed, but Thomas again refuses, but not this time, not out of rejection, but more as awareness, because he knows that Sailor John is going after the treasure and he wants to make sure that Sailor John doesn't break into the Fat Controller's office. So Thomas spends the night at Knapford, but yeah, he falls asleep during his watch, and Sailor John sneaks in and literally uses dynamite to break into the Fat Controller's office and get the treasure. Of course, the explosion wakes up Thomas, but since he's been sleeping, his fire's gone out and he can't get to Sailor John fast enough, so Sailor John goes off with Skiff. Skiff is very reluctant at this point. He doesn't want to help Sailor John at this point. So by the time Thomas gets his fire up, he chases after Sailor John, but then, surprise, surprise, Sailor John has attached Skiff to the pirate ship. How he managed to commandeer it, I don't know. Perhaps it all happened before he broke into the Fat Controller's office, but now that the wind is full and there are these massive sails, Sailor John has the upper hand. Thomas can't get to him because the pirate ship is faster, but fortunately they run through Arlesburg, where the small railway engines and Ryan are waiting, and the small railway engines push the ballast trucks onto the tracks to slow down the pirate ship, but it's not enough. The ropes of the pirate ship get attached to Ryan, and Ryan pulls on it, causing the pirate ship to tip over and derail, leaving Sailor John with only Skiff, the treasure chest, and some dynamite, which he attempts to throw at Thomas, but Skiff rocks about, causing Sailor John to lose the dynamite before it explodes. And then there's this whole confrontation throughout Arlesburg Harbor in which Thomas is trying to derail Skiff, but to no avail, and Sailor John's just keeps throwing things at Thomas and hitting him with a shovel. It's ugh. Fortunately, trains can't bleed, so there's not evident damage to Thomas's face, thankfully. But they get switched to different lines, and Thomas manages to go to a crossroad and pushes Sailor John and Skiff about, but unfortunately this leads them to the sea, and Thomas falls into the sea and is unable to chase after them. But Skiff, in this rather incredible scene, overturns himself on the waves and tosses Sailor John and the treasure overboard. Sailor John tries to hold on to the treasure, but it sinks to the bottom. This is a really incredible scene. I mean, I applaud Arc Studios for this piece of magnificent animation. Of course, Skiff doesn't sink. He's just capsized, and Sailor John has nothing else to hold on to except for a skiff until Captain arrives with the police. Thomas is rescued. The Fat Controller applauds Thomas for saving foiling Sailor John's plans, and Thomas is all cleaned up, and the line to Arlesburg to Harwick is completed, and the Fat Controller has Thomas cut the red ribbon. Skiff is now on the railboats tour, giving tours to children around the harbor. Ryan is assigned the goods trains on the new branch line, and guess who does the passenger runs on the new branch line? Daisy. That's right. Daisy makes an appearance in this special. Now, I don't really know why she's assigned to pull a passenger. She's assigned to do the passenger works on this new branch line when she's already been working on the Thomas's branch line, but that's a television series universe. At least it's now officially a different universe than that of the Railway series. But yeah, Daisy does have one line to say, but for all that I've heard, her voice is terrific. I mean, it goes up to my expectations. I mean, I'm just glad that they got a good voice for her. So yeah, that's mainly Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure. Yeah, it was great. Not 100% fantastic, but well, let me rephrase that. It was fantastic, not 100% great, but still, it counts as a good special. Yeah, so the rest of my vacation, was just getting some stuff, souvenirs that I can't get in America, being with family, and going on a couple of trains. I actually got to drive a steam engine for the very first time this year. Yeah, well, not just this year, in my life. It was a thrill. I mean, it's much more fascinating to work a steam engine than a car, obviously. Yeah, so while there were some highlights, there were also some down points. While in England, there seemed to be this rift that occurred within the Thomas fan community. Yeah, there's been some sort of disagreements between fans. I'm not sure what over. Can somebody update me? Can someone update me on that? Explain what's going on. And also, one of my newest subscribers, I've just learned, has been the subject of bullying. Yeah, so those were some down points, but I want to address those issues if it's possible. So hopefully I'll upload a video talking about the subject of bullying. It'll be a serious video. There's not gonna be much laughs there. And another video addressing the issue between the community fan base. Yeah, so anyway, those points aside, I also started a Thunderclap to get the Magic Railroad the Thomas and the Magic Railroad director's cut released. So yeah, I would like all viewers of here to please support that, as well as the other petitions and campaigns to have the director's cut released. As of now, my Thunderclap has a small number, and the deadline's I've written the deadline to be at September 4th. So the sooner you give your support to this Thunderclap, the better, because there's not a lot of time before September 4th, and I would like to get as many supporters as possible. So please go over to my Thunderclap and give your support. And also be sure to give your support, if you haven't already, to the other campaigns which host for the Thomas and the Magic Railroad's director's cut to be released. I've also been considering making a new series of videos. It's nothing that I create, it's just sort of a throwback Thursday thing. I was thinking about making a Great Smoky Mountains Railway video archive series. So every Thursday, for Throwback Thursday, I upload a video of the Great Smoky Mountains Railway during the 1990s and 80s. I'm not sure what the copyright issue is with discontinued video products, but I should think that it's alright to upload videos that haven't been on store shelves for 20 odd years or so. Let me know, guys, what the deal is with uploading video footage that hasn't been in the stores for about 10 years or so, okay? Because I don't want to get into trouble. I just want to show everyone what the Great Smoky Mountains Railway was like back in the old days. And let me know if you want to see this series on YouTube, alright? Right, so that's all I have for now, and hopefully I'll upload some new videos sometime soon. I might actually put up my 5th questions and answers video soon enough, because the questions that have been coming up these days are really interesting now. Yeah, this might become a once in every 2 months thing. I don't know. Yeah, so expect a lot of videos from me these following few months, okay? That's all for now. Cheerio.